Welcome to another episode of Candid Convos. Today's guest is Rho Thomas. Rho Thomas is an attorney and financial coach who believes that true wealth is having control of your time. She helps lawyers master their money to create freedom and choice in their lives. She also hosts the Wealthiest podcast, where she shares strategies each week for lawyers to improve their money mindset and manage their money to achieve true wealth. I've been listening for a while now. I got to tell you, it's the bomb, so go check it out. But anyway, I'm very honored to have you as a guest. Rho, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe, and thank you for your kind words.
Well, Rho, what can you tell us about your journey? Like, I know that you probably told this story more than once, but for our listeners out there, I know that you are a financial coach. How did you get started in this?
Yeah, it started with my personal financial journey. Back in 2016, my husband and I had our first child. I was still practicing law at the time, and the firm that I was working at offered a benefit where associates could do a percentage of the billable hour requirement for the corresponding percentage of their salary. So I'd be responsible for instance, 80% of the billable hour requirement for 80% of my salary. And so that was appealing to me because I had just had a child and I didn't know what that would be like going back to work with a baby. But we looked at our finances and realized that we had over $670,000 of debt and a negative $342,000 net worth. And so that was shocking to us, right? Like we knew that we had these debts individually, but hadn't added them up to see that total before. Mm-hmm. And so when we did that, we started researching and looking at how we could improve our finances because we decided that we were not going to take advantage of that benefit. We didn't think that we could afford it at that time. And so we started researching how to improve our finances and, pay off debt, that type of thing. And we set out executing that plan. And then maybe about a year or so later, it was 2018, I started a blog where I was just journaling, chronicling our journey out of debt. And friends, colleagues at work, from law school, started asking how we were doing it. And so I started helping them with their finances. And then from there, it has blossomed. I really started doing what I'm doing now in 2020 in the pandemic, because I had this idea that I could help people beyond my immediate circle. But I kept saying, oh, I'm going to help people. I want to do this. And everything that happened with the pandemic and seeing all of the uncertainty and how life just changed overnight was kind of the kick in the pants that I needed to actually put myself out there and do it. And now here we are, 2 and some change years later, and I'm really enjoying it.
Wow. Well, and I did hear about how you started that journey. And I imagine that blogging must have been some sort of like a very practical and yet at the same time a therapeutical exercise. Did you ever think that the blog would take off and lay the groundwork for your business?
No, I didn't actually. The blog was always just a hobby in my mind. It was something to do, to share our journey. Part of why I wanted to start the blog was I had seen a number of people talking about being in debt, but their numbers were smaller than ours. I wasn't seeing a lot of people with 6-figure and multi-6-figure debt. And because I was finding those blogs helpful, like even though they didn't have as much debt as us, I could see us in their story. I could still take some of the gems away that they were learning. But I thought that sharing our story could help other people who were in a similar situation. And so that's what we did. But as I said, it was very much a hobby at the time. I never thought about, actually coaching people and helping them and making a living off of it. It was just, hey, here's what we've done. We've paid off this much debt this month, or here's something new that I learned about money. And so it was not in my mind any sort of money-making venture or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I can see that working out. It makes a lot of sense. Uh, and from your professional point of view, there's a reason why you are a professional, why you do what you do, and you do it so well. What would you say it is one thing that you should or could benefit from having an expert by your side versus a do-it-yourself model in your industry? Like, what would that look like?
Yeah, I think the benefit of having a professional by your side with your personal finances is that person has access to tools, access to knowledge because of the experience that they have, whether it's personal experience like mine or experience with other clients, right? They've seen, okay, we've tried this strategy and this one works really well because of XYZ, or that one you want to take into account these factors, right? Like we have some of those things that can help people to shortcut to their goals versus the let me try this, that didn't work out, I'm going to try something else, like that trial and error approach. Like when you're doing it by yourself, sometimes it takes longer because you're trying different things and that didn't work and let me try something else. And then the expert has the approach that is proven to have worked with other people, with themselves, whatever that case may be, and can help you to avoid some of the trial and error that you would do doing it on your own.
Yeah, yeah, I also think that it's not like well, it's like a justified way of cutting corners. I don't know if that's the best way of putting it, but there's an easy way of doing that. Like, for example, we are a staffing company. What we do is we find and onboard incredible offshore talent for lawyers and business owners all over the country, all over the US and beyond. Um, and we're able to do this at a fraction of the cost. Like a virtual assistant with us for the positions that they're usually going after inside of law firms, they cost less, the position itself costs less than half of what a full-time does in the US. And we also have this freedom mindset of you have to delegate your way to freedom. So we view ourselves as experts in this area, like in staffing both lawyers and companies. And we understand when people also want to address that by themselves, but they can do it a lot faster, and they can benefit a lot from having people with a lot of experience and with a lot of knowledge in the market than doing it only by themselves. Not that they can't, though, and they probably can do it very successfully, but I also believe that it's a faster way of doing things. That's my point of view and also my experience.
I
But
completely agree.
one thing that I do notice is that we are both in the remote work type of setting. Like your business is set up to be remote. Like the way that I met you was completely remote. I am right now, I'm currently located in Mexico. So everything has gone virtual. What do you think about these type of businesses, the ones that are able to operate remote and offer remote assistance, both like you do and like we do?
I think it's amazing because, just like you said, for us to have been able to connect online, like I would have never met you if it were only, if I were only doing things in person, right? And to be able to work with people all over the world, and you're not constrained by the physical location of your business or where you are physically. So being able to meet people from different countries, different states, whatever it is, and have those interactions and then to be able to serve them as well. Like, I love that we are no longer constrained by where we are physically. We can connect with so many people and help so many people across the country, across the world.
Exactly. Like from your viewing it from your perspective, how many people would not have been able to connect with you if everything stayed as it was 20 years ago? And in our case, it's you're no longer limited to hiring prospects only in your locality. Like this has gone worldwide. We're staffing from different countries. So you're no longer, like you said, that word, I really like it, constrained to a specific location in order to access talent and to access knowledge and to be able to move faster and develop yourself because the world is moving a lot faster right now. That's my perspective. I don't know if you think the same.
No, I completely agree. If I think back on the clients that I've worked with the last couple of years, I think two of them have been here. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, in the United States. Two have been in this area, and the rest are across the United States. I'm not as international as it sounds like you are, Joe, but I've had a couple of international clients in Canada, right? I definitely would not have had the opportunity to work with clients in Canada sitting in Georgia in the United States. So the opportunity to reach way more people is just amazing. And like you said, 20 years ago, we were much more constrained, there's that word again, by our physical location. And so now, with being able to, not just in a business sense, right, being able to serve clients across the world, but just being able to connect with people across the world. I have met so many people in other countries that I probably would not have met were it not for the internet, being on social networking platforms and things like that. And so it's just really cool to be able to have those interactions and do it easily versus what would have happened, 20 years ago plus.
Bro, unfortunately, we're running out of time. So I want to thank you for showing up, being a guest in our show in Candid Convos. I really appreciate you giving us the time for this. But before we go, please let people know where they can find you and what you can do for them.
Well, first, thank you for having me. It has been such a pleasure chatting with you. I always enjoy having good conversation with good people. If anyone would like to connect with me, the best place to do so is probably my website, which is rhothomas.com. That's RHO Thomas.com. And it has links to my podcast and to all of my social media pages. I work with lawyers to help them learn how to master their personal finances. So, as you said, they can create freedom and choice in their lives, because I truly believe that when you have control of your money, you have options.
Well, guys, you heard it from her. Reach out if you can. And again, Rho, thank you very much for your time. See you in the next episode of Candid Convos.
Thank you for having me.